Hi, welcome to Inside the Moms Club, where being a mom is the coolest place to be. Here in the Moms Club, we believe that what embarrasses you now will make a great story later. And let's face it, you don't laugh sometimes, you're gonna cry. Join us in having a good laugh together. I'm Monica Samuels. You are now inside the Moms Club, your private destination for all things mom. Hi moms, I'm Monica Samuels. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club, and I'm here with my co-host, Raha Dixon.
Hi. Hello. Hi, listening moms.
Yeah, it's great to have everyone here, and it's an exciting time because it is summer.
Yes!
And so we're ready to go on vacation, and I'm trying to get ready for it. I laid out by my pool, and
yes, you did.
I used the spray sunscreen, which you have to be careful with that.
Why?
Well, because I ended up looking like the Polish flag. I had like a red line, a white line. I mean, you got it. That we'll have to do a show about that sometime. What's the best sunscreen that you can use?
Sure.
Now, it's exciting for you. You're going to Australia.
I am. I'm so excited. I grew up there from the age of like 10 to 20. I moved back to LA in 2005, so I was there for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm going back. My brother still lives there, and I haven't been there since pre-pandemic, so I'm so excited.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Australia's on my bucket list. So
girl.
Would love to go there. New Zealand, that would be great.
We're waiting for you. Let's go.
You just have to have the time. Oh, sure. Let me know when you're going to go again.
I'll be your tour guide.
Well, I'm excited because next month my husband and I are going back to Italy.
Oh, what?
Which we are very excited about. Yes, this is our second trip. Now, this time we're going to Naples and Capri.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm excited about that. On our first trip, we went to Rome and Florence.
Oh.
And it was an amazing trip. And it just had so many cool things about it. And the people were so cool. So we had this driver named Adriano.
Oh.
And Adriano was about 75 years old.
Nice.
And he had been a Formula One race car driver in the 1940s, I think.
I wonder if our guest knows about such person.
He showed us his Formula One driver's license. Did you know, moms, that Formula One drivers have to have a license?
I did not know that.
He showed us his license. And so,
that's so cool.
Which is kind of interesting, too. I wonder if they have to have it on them when they're driving, around the... Like,
I doubt
well,
it.
anyway, yeah, probably not. But yeah, it was pretty cool. But what's funny, so he was like 75, but he'd been a Formula One driver.
Oh, wow.
So we're driving from Rome to Florence on this highway, and I realized at different points he was asleep. Like he was nodding off, and then he'd wake up. And we didn't know what to do. He was a professional. We didn't want to.
Wait, he was driving and he was falling asleep?
Yes, he fell asleep part of the way up there. But he got us up there perfectly. I mean, it was great.
That's really scary, Mike.
So it was a straight road. Now, when he took us through Tuscany, I have a feeling that if he'd done the same thing, that probably would not have been so great. But
that's really scary, but hilarious.
He was awesome. The people were awesome. The food was awesome. I mean, I just had the best time. I got to go in Florence. We went there for a fashion thing.
Oh,
and
nice.
Because we had some friends that were designers, and
nice.
So we went to an event where all the designers come out and show what's new for the season.
Yeah.
And so I got to go to that, and then they had a guy that creates beautiful cashmere sweaters.
Ooh.
Fitted me for sweaters at the top of our hotel, and they brought me champagne, and I'm drinking, and it was very, very cool.
That sounds luxurious and fabulous.
It was. So I'm like, I can't wait to see what Mark has planned for me.
Let me not tell you about how I went to Italy.
So
there was no
excited.
Such thing.
I
won't tell you about my Italy trip. It was not like that.
Everyone has a great Italy trip. It just depends. Well, my son was in Italy at the same time that we were there.
Yeah.
And he was staying in a convent because it was a school trip.
Oh, wow.
And so he was in a convent with no air conditioning. And we picked him up to come up to our hotel. We were allowed to take him out one day.
Oh.
And so we went and got him. And when we got him, we realized, like, he was partially shaven. He couldn't see very well in the mirror that they had for the bath. So he had, hair here and shaved there. And we took him to our hotel, and we took him to the club at the hotel, and he's scarfing down all the sandwiches.
Oh.
And we even took him to the bathroom, and we shaved him ourselves.
Oh, wow.
But at one point during all of that, he turned to us at this nice hotel that we were in, and he said, "Now I know why poor people hate rich people." So
oh, wow. Oh, wow.
He had a different experience, but he had a great experience. I mean, he learned a lot, but it was quite different. So, I can't wait. The one thing he did love, he loved Capri. They went to Capri, and he loved it. So
Wow.
I am very, very, very excited.
I would be too.
And you know, the other thing that we're both lawyers, and when I was
Yeah.
practicing, I practiced environmental law, but also immigration
Wow.
law.
Oh,
And
I
so
can't wait
it's
for our next guest. I
always
truly
cool. I
can't.
know, it's always cool to meet people who've immigrated to the United States.
Hi,
Because,
I'm over here.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's because they really appreciate
Yeah,
what the United States is about. When you talk about the American dream, they get it
totally.
in a way that
Well, I'm
a
not
lot
the
of-
immigrant. My mom's the immigrant.
Yeah.
My parents immigrated here, and their outlook is totally different to people who have been
Oh, yeah.
born and raised here. So I'm really curious. I'm really excited for our guest. Like, if you can't tell, I've mentioned it three,
yeah.
4 times.
No, I am too. And the thing also, just to get to be a citizen
Yeah.
of this country,
Yeah,
it's hard.
it's tough.
There's a test. And I can tell you this much, if all Americans had to take that test when they're 18, we would have a lot fewer Americans, which is very sad.
Oh my
because
God.
it is not easy. So yes, I am very excited about our guest. If you haven't figured it out, she's an immigrant from Italy, and she's done a lot since she's arrived in this country. She is a
That's an
major
understatement.
influencer, host,
Yeah.
TV personality,
Yeah.
model, author, and philanthropist. She was named to Forbes' top 5 world fashion influencers. Her Instagram account has over 11 million followers, which is just amazing. She's done philanthropy. She has a nonprofit called the Wishwall Foundation, and she hosts the Simonetta Lein Show. Welcome, Simonetta, to the Moms Club.
Woohoo!
So happy. We're
I was
so-
here speaking about my country, so I mean, and you said a lot of correct things. I can vouch for it. I mean, it's
Really?
very hard to become an American citizen. I'm very proud to be one of it. I had to take my test and stay in line and wait and wait and wait and do a
Wow.
lot of paperwork and not going back to my country, original country, Italy, for at least 5 or 6 years,
That's tough.
waiting, not seeing my parents for many, many years. People do not know all the struggles that are
You can't
behind.
get like a permission to travel or anything?
Yeah, it was very complicated. So the way that it works is that, of course, you petition and then you start your process. But then the way that basically you have to wait until you get your first actually, the first one is not a green card, it's a transitional card.
Oh.
And I remember I had a moment in my life that literally had just a piece of paper.
Wow.
And I was like, am I legal? Am I not legal? I don't understand what is happening. It
That's
was, of course, I
wild.
was legal, but it was like kind of a moment where my lawyer said, if you really have to go, okay, we'll make you go. But, if you do not go, it will be better because you never
Wow.
know what happened. They can stop you and all of that. And at the end of the day, this entire process was like 5 years. So, and then the pandemic hit. I was, finally an American citizen ready to go back. No, you cannot go.
yeah.
Oh my
with all
gosh.
of that.
That must have been hard to have family in Italy that you haven't seen so long, and then the pandemic hits. And now I'm sure the thought crossed your mind, what if I never see them again?
All the time. You want to make me start crying?
No.
No.
What I really want to do is ask you, where is your dress from? Because it's fabulous. So if you want to change the topic, you can let me know that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This is actually, I don't want to give them publicity because this is not like just my top, but it's actually a fast fashion brand that it's nothing fancy, but thank you so
Great.
much for, I like it too. That's why
Yeah.
I thought of you girls and I'm like, this is perfect.
And thank you for honoring that it's just a fast fashion brand, because that's all most of us always buy. And it's really nice to know that like we can find things that fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I actually wore this top only another time with my dear friend Bob Saget. So I just want to honor him and say hello to him, from Philly to Philly.
Oh, yeah.
We were good friends, and so I wanted to honor him with this as well.
That's great, yeah.
Oh,
and he was
yeah.
great. And was greatly missed. Well, tell
Very
us
much so.
tell us your story, how
Yes.
you arrived in the United States.
Yeah.
You didn't have 11.2 million followers when
No,
you
I
got
didn't.
here.
I didn't.
So share the story and how you arrived in Philadelphia, which
Yes.
Was
So
your home.
my now husband, at that time we worked together for 10 years. He's originally from New Jersey. We lived in Milan, Italy for many, many years together. And then we said, we're still young enough. Why don't we try it? We didn't know anybody in Philadelphia. We had only his family in New Jersey. And again, it was like an hour and a half far from, where they are. So we said, close enough, far enough, big city, but still has a lot of culture. It's, a very European type of vibe.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it for that reason. Like architecture, it's beautiful, so much history. I'm actually very, very lucky because where I live is where very close where Princess Grace Kelly grew up. So very,
Oh,
historical place.
yeah.
Behind my house, they say it's where George Washington marched, to go to Valley Forge. So again, I, as a European, really, appreciated that. And we decided to stay. And when I came to this country, it was very well known in my country, but of course I had to restart, from scratch here. We bought foreclosure. We knew pretty much nobody in this country beside, again, my husband's family. So we had to, use my base and, um, go bigger. And dude, we couldn't just go bigger. We couldn't go home because was our home. So we had to make it work. And I always say, right, that, when you cannot have a failure, just not possible, then you're going to make it work. And that's probably when you were talking about immigrations before, immigrants do know, they know that the American dream is something so big, it's so powerful that you want to honor it and you want to put 150%, if not 200% to make it work. And that's how, I started. So again, I started with a base from Italy. At that time, I had my first novel published with one of the biggest publishing houses in the world. I was writing and doing also video interviews for Vanity Fair. That's honestly how I started really to have a big base.
So,
And
Simonetta, you were a journalist interviewing people for Vanity Fair Italy, right?
Correct. I never considered myself a journalist. I was more like, even there, like an influencer and entertainer, because I kind of was one of the first doing selfies interviews with celebrities in Italy. I kind of started with that mood. And I was doing, again, videos, radio, and also.
Did you have a selfie stick where you had to, and that's how you interviewed them?
I had big guns. Like that and holding it.
That's hilarious.
And going around the city, it was actually hilarious. I was just getting, the celebrities around the cities of Milan and then holding it like that, very steady, and going around the city. And so I became famous.
Wow.
Steady guns to hold it. And that's, how, then things kept on, escalating, becoming bigger and bigger and bigger.
Sure.
And again, it was very well known there. Just that Italy, I'm sure that you guys heard about it. I mean, the youth unemployment is very, very high. When I left, now we're talking 6 years ago, 7 years ago, was almost a 60% on the unemployment. So there was just no opportunities. And it's very sad to say, but that's, no immigrant really wants to leave their country. I also want people to know that you love your country, you love your culture, you love your, food, you love your language. It's not easy, but again, we looked at each other and say, there are no, I'm sorry, but my country is gorgeous, amazing, but there's just no opportunity here. And so I said, okay, again, I'm young enough, let's do this. And it was kind of maybe a magical combination between, of course, my original audience, the fact that I came here and I was kind of exotic, right, being Italian.
Sure.
And then, of course, being in America, also I started to be exotic for the Italians. So it was kind of a good combination. Oh, wow. I then, in 2015, created the Wishwell Foundation, where I started to grant meaningful wishes around the globe. And so probably between, that and then starting to write for the Huffington Post and Forbes and Entrepreneur, things started to pick up, and we're here 11.2 or 3 million.
Amazing.
Like that.
I don't feel like an underachiever at all, Simonetta. No, I feel really great about myself right now. This is really interesting because your wish, it's the Wishwell Foundation. Wishwell. Yeah. Sorry, excuse my mispronunciation. And you really help to change kids' lives all over the world. Is it just kids, or is it adults, or is it?
No, it is. So in general, the mission is called, basically we make, again, meaningful wishes come true that can impact the community. That is so I helped from adults to children here in America, in Africa, in the Philippines, in Italy, all over the world. That being said, lately, we had a lot of children. It's true, especially during the pandemic. Everything closed. So even from a charity perspective, I'm like,
Sure.
what am I doing? Right? Like
Yeah.
everything was closed, but still, actually through education, because somehow we were able, besides of course the very first 2-3 months, they continued with education. So I was able to support a lot of programs there. One
That's
of the most that
beautiful.
the most proud is when we actually donated computers for an entire class of girls, and
That
Wow.
is great.
teachers, and then the teachers that
Where
could
where were the girls, Simonetta? What?
Nigeria.
Oh
So
my
we've done a lot
gosh.
of works in Nigeria. Right now, we're still doing in Nigeria, and that is actually for fertilizers for crops, because prices, of course, went up all over the world.
Wow.
So they didn't even
Wow.
have money to buy fertilizers, and so because of our help, they're able to feed an entire town. So
That's
that makes me,
beautiful.
very proud. And then I'm also doing another project this time instead in Kenya.
Uh-huh.
It's another school, and basically we're giving an entire year of boarding and school to a girl that we chose. So we're choosing different projects, and I'm really, as a human, I feel very, very proud that I'm able to do something.
That's great.
Well, I like this a lot because you don't have children, right?
No, not at the moment. I'm only a dog mom.
Right.
But still a
Well,
mom.
but I say this only to say that a lot of my friends who can't have children sort of are so down and despondent about that. But I think someone like you is a great example of the fact that affecting children's lives in a positive way can happen in so many different ways.
I
And
feel a mom to them many times.
yes,
Girls,
absolutely. And in a
yeah,
lot of ways, a lot of those people, you're fulfilling a role for them that their own mother couldn't do. Of course,
correct.
no one
Very,
replaces your
very
mom,
true.
but every mom can't do everything. So I think the way you're impacting these children's lives all over the world is really beautiful. And I think it's such an inspiration for people who can't have kids to know that anyone can have this kind of impact. It doesn't have to be through motherhood.
What gave you the idea to start a nonprofit? Because
Hmm.
the average mom out there, there are actually moms who say, I would like to
I would
Yeah.
help
like
do
to.
this, but someone who former practicing attorney, you have to get a 501c3. I mean,
Correct.
there's legal hoops you have to go through.
Sure.
So help
Not
the moms
easy.
out there. Yeah, it's not easy. So
So who
help the
wants to
moms.
start?
How do
It's
you do
not
that?
easy. It's like you're saying, again, I come here in 2015. I know nothing about this country. What happened is that at the beginning it was a blog, and actually came as an idea from Vanity Fair when I published my book. My book was about the power of dreams. And so they were very interested in the topic. And so again, I started with celebrities and their power of dreams, and how they were manifesting, they were making their dreams come true. But then I said, okay, that's very, very cool, but these are celebrities. What about everyday people? And so that's when, from the book and Vanity Fair, I said, can I create kind of a blog where everyday people can write? And that's how it started. So at the beginning it was just a blog, and people started to write their dreams in a very specific way to try to achieve them. And the idea was to put them in touch, one with the other, so that they could help each other. And that actually started to happen. And I also started to be passionate about some dreams. And I said, let me see if I can help. And I started to help. And then again, here in Philadelphia, uh, 2015, Pope Francis came to Philly. We had this idea of doing what we did on the Wish Wall online in a physical event. So we created the Wish Wall, the physical Wish Wall. The city of Philadelphia sponsored it. We did this big wall, and people
Wow.
were hanging, their wishes on this big wall. And one wish really caught my eye. I remember there was this mother who came there. She wrote her wish, and she started crying, and she just put it there and ran away. And I just ran after her, and she just told me, I'm a mom. I lost my daughter in a hit and run accident. Help me. And at that point, I felt, two things. I'm like, I'm just an immigrant. I don't even know the laws in this country. What can I do? And then the other part is like, okay, but I am an immigrant. That's actually a superpower. I'll make it
Yeah.
work. And so I remember that was September 2015. This woman passed away the day before Christmas of the previous year. And so I said, my dream is actually we can rename the street where she grew up in
Wow.
Times for her passing, for the, of course, anniversary. And everyone that was working in the city, they told me it's not going to be possible. Forget about it. I mean, it's Philadelphia is the fourth largest city in America. We need, the permission of everybody, the mayor, and all of that. And I continue. So I remember until the very last day, I didn't know if they were actually coming and put the sign. And I remember it was December 23rd, actually 2 days before Christmas, December 23rd, 2015. I go there, it was raining that day. And I see them, putting out the signs. So they renamed the street. It's called the street. They renamed it the Theresa Potes Way. So that was, incredible. And then, of course, the biggest dream that she had was to actually have a conviction. So, of course, I'm not a police officer. I don't know what to do. But I said, let me, figure it out. So I kind of, even there, came up with a strategy to, give more reward for whoever wanted to, speak about it, and put like big billboards around. And actually, they were able to catch the killer. And I went to the trial. He went to jail. So that was, something that made me become the wishmaker. That's why a lot of people call me the wishmaker, because again, that honestly, I always say this to people. I did it with a lot of heart and determination. Sure. I'm not special. I don't have superpowers. I was an immigrant. I didn't even know how to work the system.
Yeah.
But somehow I figured it out. And at that point, it was so big. So to respond to your question, then we said, okay, now what do? We have to have a 501c3, because at that point, we have so many requests. Mm-hmm. What can we do? Let's get established. So yes, you go to a lawyer, you apply for a 501c3.
Yeah.
It takes time. And instead, in that case, in fact, also that I got as a sign, our status came back pretty easily. And so even the lawyer told me, said, usually it's not that easy. So I said, maybe the Lord, is helping me. I don't know. Yeah. That's, of course, my feeling, maybe it was a coincidence, but I want to see it that way.
Well, you clearly have a great backup plan. If what you're doing doesn't work, you can go into law enforcement.
Or have you thought about running for mayor of Philadelphia?
They told me, would you like to work with us? I'm like, no. I'm sorry, I don't even know where to start. But kind of, it was, I was very happy that I was of service and I was able to, help. And so again, if you are there, you would like to, open a 501c3. Yes, you need a lawyer. You need to do that process. You need to have a mission, and so to actually know who you're going to be willing to help. Of course, in my case, my mission is a little bit broad because I make meaningful wishes come true. So it can literally be in any spectrum. There are, non-for-profit specific for children, other specific for women. So, you have to feel what is your core mission, and then, of course, find a way to do fundraisers, to, have people enthusiastic about, your projects, and then deliver. And that's also, the biggest part of all this dream of mine, to actually make then these wishes come true.
You have this incredible side in activism, and then you have this fabulous fashion influencer side. Which one do you enjoy, one more than the other?
No, I like them both, and somehow I always say they go together. I have, like you're saying, this, of course, fashion big side. I was just named the media personality and influencer of 2022 in Cannes, France. So, of course, that was very, very glamorous. I had that 11.3 million followers. That's very glamorous and all of that. But like, for instance, yesterday, I just remember I found myself, thinking about this new project we're doing in Kenya, and just sending, a message of extreme gratitude to the people that, there on Kenya are going to help me to make it happen. As a human, you just feel proud. So again, I do enjoy both. And also they go together because, with a lot of the celebrities that I do interview for the Simonetta Lein show, they also donate to my charity. For instance, they donate a meet and greet with them, or, an experience with them, and people, can purchase them and donate to the charity and do something.
We didn't tell you have to give us a lot of money now to be on our show.
When you've been going through this process, very rarely do things go great all the time.
Right.
I mean, there's some discouraging moments. So did you have some challenges along the way and that discouraged you? And if so, how did you power through them? What did you do to get on the other side, to reach your success? Because a lot of people,
Mhm.
they just sort of give up when it's not going so well. But that's not
Yeah.
necessarily the right attitude, right? So
So
what?
there is actually a saying that I always, whenever do an interview, I kind of learn and I share with people. I learned that this is a true learning experience. It's not just for saying. I have to learn to rest instead of giving up, which seems very, very easy, but it's very difficult because when you want to actually get things done and achieve things, like you're saying, sometimes you are let down. Things
Yeah.
don't always go, perfectly. You have bumps that you have to kind of, okay, let's stop, let's play the wish maker. How would the wish maker make this wish come true? And it is a lot of strategy. So sometimes I literally need to rest, take a moment, and pivot. And for instance, the pandemic hit. I just started the Simonetta Lein show in January 2020. There you go. March, everything is closed. What am I doing? So initial moment of panic, and then, okay, let's regroup. Let's regroup and let's rest. What can we do? And so that's how we started like this, like we were doing right now, right? Via Zoom. Back in 2020 was still something that not everybody knew, right? It wasn't considered mainstream media whatsoever, but now it is because the world has changed. And so I always say, from, of course, a huge misfortune that we all had, but we humans are very resilient. So if we learn to, again, pivot and, just sometimes just take a little bit of a step back and look at things, and again, do not give up, then look, what it's possible to do. And again, I always say, if I did it, everybody can do it, because it's not that I came here with literally
I don't
nothing.
know about that.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
I said, I don't know about that. I was just joking.
Oh,
If we could
thank
all
you.
do it, because
So,
you
I
can
don't
do
know.
it.
I'm just saying that, what I see is that
Yeah.
many times, there's a lot of excuses, that people put, like, in
Oh,
order
yeah.
to achieve, things.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to say is that, again, I came here with, of course, an amazing husband. At that time, it wasn't even my husband. We were just, fiancé, but, me and him, we just stick together. It was a foreclosure. We had to redo everything. It wasn't easy. I had
No, of
literally
course
to
not.
take like 7-8 months of my life to restart, everything. But what I wanted to say is that, again, if you are determined and you have a, in my humble opinion, a good heart, at least for yourself, you don't have to show it to other people. I always say, who cares? But you have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be happy with what you're doing. Then you can actually transform other people's lives.
Well,
That's it.
you just mentioned something that came out of the pandemic that's new. Zooming and Zoomers, and we have Zoomer moms.
Yeah, we
If-
do.
If that hadn't happened, we could have said, "Welcome to Zoomer moms," and people would have thought,
Yes.
"What's wrong with Monica? She's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about." So let me introduce you to today's Zoomer moms. Today I have a lot of great questions for you from Washington D.C. and the mother of two, Tanisha Carino. Welcome, Tanisha, to the Moms Club.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you all so much for letting me be part of this.
Yeah.
And Simonetta, I am an immigrant as well. And the first thing I just have to say is hats off to you for the hustle. I just love the hustle. And if there's one thing that immigrants share, is just that ability to dig deep and hustle when you have to.
Right.
So I have a question for you, because Monica stole my question, which is like every one of us goes through periods of time where we just have doubt. And I love the idea of rest, not quit. So my question is, you've been talking about people's dreams, and now you are at the pinnacle of so much of what you've worked so hard for. What's next for you? What's the next dream that you're going to challenge yourself?
Yeah, so we are actually in the process of recording the 5th season of the Simonetta Lein Show. Believe it or not, we're the 5th season. I mean, it's crazy. And it started 2 years ago. So I'm challenging myself with that, with bigger and better guests. We had, of course, some of the most amazing guests already in the industry. I don't know, Danny Trejo, Steve-O, Buddy Velastro, Teresa Caputo, my friend Bob Saget, Tom Arnold, you name it.
Wow, that's a big list.
So, even bigger and better. So that's my next challenge. We are in shooting as we speak. So I'm very, very excited for you to see the new episodes.
That's great. We would now like to welcome from Los Angeles, California, and mother of two, Sabrina Jones.
Yes.
Sabrina,
Woo!
welcome to the Moms Club. Do you have any questions for Simonetta?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
I really want to acknowledge you. I am so impressed and inspired by your journey, your story, how you stepped into your abilities fully, and how you're an example to everyone around you.
Thank
You know,
you.
as I'm sitting here, I'm really just taking in this. I just see the light and the spark within you, and it's lighting even my own to say, well, what
That's so
can I do in the world? How can I, it's branching off from your energy. I feel very much so thank you for
thank
sharing.
you.
And I think maybe my question to you would be, I was going to ask like a piece of advice. I really do love the rest device as well that was mentioned before. But if there's something that you would suggest, if you were to tell, if you had like a few seconds to tell someone a message that you would, to spark that flame in them, what would it be? Like, what would be an inspiring thing you would like to pass on? Additional.
Yes, to keep on investing on yourself so that the moment that you grow as a human, like I was mentioning before, you can continue to put light into other people's lives. People have to remember how important it is to work on your mental health, on your body, on your soul, so that you can be that example. And again, it does, of course, go back to sometimes take a rest instead of giving up. I have myself some moments this world is a lot. I mean, mental health is real. We are in a moment where, a lot of people are very depressed. A lot of people are suicidal. A lot of people don't know what to do. Family separated, like we were mentioning before. Yeah. I finally re-saw my parents after almost 3 years in France because, because of that award, I was able to, go there and see them. And so really acknowledge that and, take your time. But on the other hand, do not give up. Again, I always say the difference between who makes it and who doesn't is, again, between that, line of continuing and giving up. I've seen so much talent out there, so many people that are incredible. They just gave up. They got to a point that they were just too tired, and instead of resting, they said, I can't. And like you were saying also before, it's very important to keep that light, keep that spark inside of you so that you can give it outside. And not every day it's possible. I understand that. And so that's why it's very important to recharge your batteries somehow with whatever, if it's a book, if it's a trip, if it's a music, if it's, a podcast, if it's meditation, spirituality, religion, whatever, it's important for you, do it. And especially we as women and as moms, somehow, even if I'm still not a mother of a human child, but like I would say, I'm a dog mom and I'm a mom of a lot of children around the world. And a lot of also, I consider to be kind of a mom for a lot of the girls that do follow me on social media, to really continue to push them. My fan actually do push me, those days that I'm a little bit down, they say, continue, you can do it.
Can I have one more question to that?
Yes.
Is this, have you ever had a situation where you came into a place where you let go of something? It wasn't that you gave up, but you got to a point where you became aware that it might not be for you to finish and complete, does that make sense?
Yes. Well, for instance, my life in Italy, I mean, that was, kind of how could you say, something died there, like we were saying before, for an immigrant, it's never easy to leave everything. Something died. And so that's why I still have, pain when I think about my country. I still, believe it or not, 7 years, I still didn't go back. France for me was the closest, part to be like closer to the border. But, I always feel like maybe when I'll go back, I'll start crying for like, I don't know, a day, because something had to die in order to be reborn. And so I had to literally leave my life. It is scary. I had to restart, from scratch. I had, my legs, doing like that so many times. And somehow I still do. Sometimes, I still do. So I mean, even if now I'm an American citizen, I'm still, there are certain things that still are not, I didn't go to school here. I didn't have the friends from school, they are very, very important in your formation. So I had to recreate, my support group and all of that. And, so it is scary. That being said, if you embrace it, the craziest, challenge, like in this case, I literally changing life. I mean, it really can give you back a lot.
Well, clearly it gave a lot to you. Yeah.
Well, and from my hometown of Austin, Texas, and a dear friend, a mother of two, Jennifer Marsh. Jennifer, do you have any questions for Simonetta?
So good to see you. Listening to you, I'm reminded of something a mentor told me a long time ago, which is that instead of asking why me, you should say why not me. Mm-hmm. And the fact that when you talk about leaving your country, kind of starting from scratch here, yes. And having more than one project you're working on, and starting to restart your family, restart your culture, going through immigration. I mean, I love that you kind of ran fearlessly towards joy in the things that gave you meaning and got you out of bed in the morning. And I love that, like, connecting with you reminds us all that we need to do that on a daily basis, because we're only on this earth for so long. But my favorite story from all of your wishes that I was looking into was one where you brought ice cream to a place in Africa that never had ice cream before. And it's funny because I'd never considered, like, oh yeah, people in Africa, maybe they don't have ice cream.
Actually, it was in the Philippines in that case.
Okay.
It was an indigenous population in the Philippines. Aww. And again, they never had ice cream. So can you imagine, see that face of a child? Wow. No, right? With that ice cream all over. It was like priceless. I mean, those, small things that we take for granted so much. And, I really like the more actually fame, notoriety, come, the more it helps me to stay grounded and understand the power that comes with it and all the beautiful things I can do, And I really think that the Lord graces people that really want to, give back to, and I see it. There are so many people that even if it's a terrible moment, we are redo things. We are bringing new values, or actually the original values that maybe, we were raised with. We kind of lost them. Now we're like, okay, we have to go back to our roots. So even like seeing, a child's face, so happy because of the ice cream.
So cute.
That is great.
Did they ever get ice cream again, or was that the last time they got ice cream?
Yes, no, they did get ice cream. And also, not only that, they also did get water, which is something that for us is so normal, right? Well, they had to walk every day, I believe 10 miles, something like that.
Wow.
But of course, with no shoes, with nothing, right? Going up in the mountains to get water. So I said, that's it. We have to fix this. I literally had to look for 2 years in order to find someone that could go. And because again, it was, up high in the mountains. So to find someone that could dig and finally bring them water. So now they have ice cream and water.
Who are you?
That is great.
Amazing.
Well, and finally, last but certainly not least, from somewhere in the hills, her hideaway in North Carolina.
From the Bat Cave.
The mother of two, Julie Ortega. Julie, do you have any questions for Simonetta?
Yes. I don't even know where to begin. You've hit two major hot buttons in my life. One of them is Africa, and the other one is the fashion and everything that you've done. So I have a two-part question for you. The first one is, shut up. You looked amazing at the recent award that you won in conference.
Thank you.
It was, that dress was...
It's a dinosaur, right?
It was insane.
Shout out to Johnny Cohen, the confessional showroom in New York. They are amazing. They have the best dresses. Actually, that dress came from with me from New York to Philadelphia to Kent Friends, and then went back.
Yeah. I don't know where it came from, but you looked amazing. So I do need to say, do you have a favorite photo that you've taken? Because I know people will want to hear where you felt it, because I know you've taken a million pictures, but if there's one that you remember. And my second part of my question is totally a different direction than fashion. I am a nurse by trade. but currently working in fashion, which I've enjoyed immensely.
Wow.
But the thing about the Africa with your foundation, so I was just so blown away when I would travel to Africa and you would see large bodies of water, but they don't have access to get it and to make it work for their country to feed them of basic needs. So I was most interested in the fertilizer, which is so huge and so, so important to Africa. How is that going? I do hope to return there one day.
Yes. So very interesting question, first of all. So as far as my style, I became pretty well known for a little bit particular dresses. Sometimes I really like to dare. I've done from very classic outfits, but also the more, like I was saying, wearing a little bit like Lady Gaga type of stuff. So with glasses and all of that. I have a friend of mine, his name is Stevie Boy. He does this crazy glasses. So I love to do that. And then again, this big dresses, that is something that I really like. But if you ask me one picture in particular, we're talking about the media award that I received in Cannes. There's one picture that I still didn't publish with my husband. Me and him, he was handsome. I mean, he's my husband. I love him so much, but he was really handsome. And actually, it was fun. He was the only guy with sunglasses the entire night. So everyone thought it was like a movie star. And it was so fun. At the end, there was this guy that comes to us and say, "Can I take a picture?" And so during the night, a lot of people wanted to take pictures with me. And my husband's like, "Of course, sure, I'll take a picture." And then he looks at me and said, "No, I don't want a picture with you. I want a picture with your husband." I'm like, "There you go."
Nice.
I love that.
And so, to me, that, of course, again, that picture with me and him doesn't only represent a picture, represents, again, reuniting with my family, that big accomplishment, together, the family wins, over everything. So that is, the meaning behind that picture. And then for the second question for Africa. So again, when they came to me, they said, prices went up so crazy and, we need help. And basically we're risking that the entire village will not eat this year. And so, again, I do know the problem of water, as you were mentioning. In this case, I don't know how they manage that part because, again, the water particularly, I know a little bit more about it in the Philippines. In Africa, again, was mostly the fertilizer. Eventually, they had their water supply. But again, without fertilizer, there were no crops this year. So one thing that I want to point out that was very fascinating to see all these women working in the land. And they're sending me all these pictures that actually we're publishing on the Wishful Foundation website and also Instagram page, where you see all these women, actually, I mean, they put the fertilizer, so we're seeing all the steps, right? The fertilizer, and now the crops are coming through, and it's just so, incredible to see how these women are actually, really the power of the society there. There's actually, they have a lot of power there.
Yes, very much so.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, this has been amazing and great. And I have to say, moms out there will be inspired by listening to this show. But I think you should also, moms out there, have your children listen to this show too. Because
I think so.
What? Anything is possible. You just have to have the attitude, the will, the desire. Yeah. And so you're an inspiration, Simonetta.
Seriously, thank you.
And by the way, you just said it. That is actually the title of my book. It's called actually Everything is Possible, but you just mentioned anything else. So that's how I call my book.
There it is.
I didn't even know. See, I always say in life, things happen. You don't even know. I mean, I wrote that book, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago or something like that. And that actually became the mantra of my life. So many times you don't even know why you're doing certain things. If I could say to someone, if you feel in your gut, in your heart, even if it doesn't make super sense with what you're, envisioning, go for it, because every little pencil will help you, to become that beautiful diamond that you are.
Look at that.
Every little pencil is important. Every little facet, right, of that diamond are important.
Absolutely. Well, that is great. And I would encourage everyone, if you want to join the 11 million very satisfied, happy followers on Instagram, check her out at Simonetta Lein on Instagram.
Yeah.
And check out the Wish Wall Foundation. And I suppose
Thank
if you
you.
have a wish or a dream that you can become part
it
of
up
that
there.
foundation.
Absolutely, that you can support or that you have.
Uh-huh.
And of course, if it impacts the community, please do write me. And of course, come also on the Simonetta Lein show to see all the
yes.
new interviews that will come up. And I know that my name is not super easy, but trust me, once you find one Simonetta, it's only me. There's only me. Once you learn it one time, it's SIMONETTA and then LEIN. Once you get my name, there's only me.
That's
Well,
it.
great. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And we'd also like to thank our sponsor, Catch Events. At Catch Events, they're wedding and event planners that can turn your dreams into realities. You can find them at Catch Events and _ and check us out on our website, InsideTheMomsClub.com, and on our Instagram, which is a few followers shy of 11 million, but we're working on it because you know what?
Right?
We are inspired today. We're going to,
Yes.
we'll never beat you, I don't think, but we're going to work at it.
Everything is possible.
We are going for it.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
right. Everything is possible. So check us out at Inside the Moms Club on Instagram. And if you'd like to share your stories with us, send us great stories that you have of inspiring things that you've done, things that are inspiring you, things that your children are up to that you think are funny things that you've done as a mom, because we try to share those too.
We know there's lots of
moms
those.
enjoyed those. So please share with us on our Instagram page. Thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, our time is once again way too short. But we'll be back next time with celebrities and extraordinary moms just like you. We know your me time is precious, and valuable. Thanks so much for sharing some of it with us. Remember our motto here at the Moms Club: if you don't laugh sometimes, you are going to cry. And you know what? There's nothing today. Everything's so up right now.
That's
I don't feel the least bit like crying.
Me
This
either.
has been a really up show. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time inside the Moms Club.